Hello, everyone. Welcome to this great conference on today's topic. We have a great discussion on the modern living. The modern living is very busy, and today's women are busy. So, let us discuss how this holistic approach can really help. Today, we are talking about balancing mind and body. You see, empowering women through holistic wellness is something which we really welcome Aarti, Shweta, and Uma. I am Jyotindra Zaveri. Let us start this discussion today with the introduction. Aarti, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Aarti Khadilkar. Since 19 years, I am practicing yoga and diet therapy in India as well as in abroad. I run my own studio in India, but now as a Prana Mojo platform, I am connected with the world around and I'm practicing the yoga throughout the world. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Aarti. Shweta, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Shweta Nayak. I am basically from an IT background, worked in 16 years in IT, and meeting the challenges of work life balance. I was introduced into Yog Pran Vidya, YPV, energy healing and meditation, and an integrated approach towards wellness. So, from last 6 years, I am practicing these techniques and thereby I am helping different people in different sectors for their emotional, mental, physical problems and issues. So it is based on different techniques ranging from 2 minutes to 60 minutes, wherein you ensure total wellness. And I was conducting face to face session earlier, but due to lockdown, we have been using different platforms like Zoom, Click Meeting for online sessions. I was primarily conducting for people living in India, but now through Pranamojo, I'll be conducting sessions even across India plus abroad also. So now it will be the entire world is connected using Pranamojo. So it is not that I'm based on India or anywhere. I'm there for whosoever wants to understand wellness through Pranamojo. Thank you.
Great. Uma, please introduce yourself. Uma.
Yeah. Namaste. I'm Uma Deshmukh. My yoga journey started 21 years ago, and today it is an inseparable part of my life. I have learned different different techniques of yoga, like Kriya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, and I have been blessed, and I'm lucky to have a Himalayan guru, and he's my spiritual guru and guide, and he has been uh, teaching me different techniques. I'm still a student, and I started teaching also, and I particularly follow individualized uh, to say training as per the problem, and that includes counseling, theory, practicals, and whoever wants more of inner, that is Antaranga Yoga, uh, inner techniques of yoga. So specifically, I teach them these techniques. So I'm very thankful to Pranamojo for making this platform available worldwide. And I would really like to uh, teach people, whoever wants to learn different techniques of prana yoga or even ancient techniques, which are actually tradition of India. So I would be happy to teach them. Thank you.
Great. So my question to you is, what is the, according to you, is the wellness? Okay, Uma, over to you.
Thank you. Well, according to me, wellness is something that you have to be happy with whatever things you have around you. So there may be definitions by WHO or other text, medical text or whatever. But according to me, I think it is the physical, mental wellness, and to be happy with whatever means you have, with whatever conditions you are living in. So that is my simple definition of happiness. Wellness is
Cool.
happiness.
Absolutely. That's too nice. Shweta, Arti, would you like to add something on this?
Yeah, sure. According to me, I would like to chant a shloka for this. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhar bhavet. The simple definition is the well-being of everyone in the society is the well-being of our own self. So, human body is a wonderful machine, as we all know. But along with this machine, many systems are working intact inside. And the thing which we don't see, we cannot see, is the mind. So, according to WHO, as the definition is, it is a mental well-being, physical stamina, spiritual upliftment, or emotional balance. It is the same way. Wellness is a holistic approach towards ourselves and the society. So wellness is wellness of everyone, whoever you meet in the way. That's
Perfect. You are really good in singing this sloka. This is, I really
Thank you.
appreciate.
Thank you.
Shweta, thank you all for joining. Shweta, would you like to add on to this particular question? What according to you is wellness?
So, wellness, as per me, is a in totality, it is good health, happiness, satisfaction, and it is something that I am able to live happily, face myself, and even if no one is there, I am happy, smiling. Even if everyone is there, I'm still happy and in harmony living with everyone. So, as Aarti has rightly pointed out, in
Good.
WHO, it is a total emotional, mental, physical well being. That is what is it. And this is what everyone needs to remind themselves, because when we actually see, people are just about eating food or exercising, they are neglecting the entire concept of wellness altogether. So it has to be everything integrated and in balanced way. Thank you, Jyotinder.
Perfect. Shweta, since you are from the corporate world, you have been working. I would like to ask you, what is the biggest challenge in the corporate lifestyle now? Shweta?
Yeah, the biggest challenge in the corporate lifestyle is what we say is, balance is one thing, and second is we take back home to office and office to home. And with COVID, it is home, office, office, home. So
Yeah.
the balance, segregation, and giving yourself to the family or to the office job properly is not happening. And
Oh, yeah.
that disturbs office life as well as house life, because par- parents and children crib, and even wife or husband would be cribbing, you don't have time for us now. Since you're working from home, you're just doing the same thing all the time. And
Absolutely.
secondly, in office, you find the disturbance is there, something is there. and at times the boss would say it was better if you would have been working from office rather than home. So that is the challenge, you know, as per the COVID, plus in real time also, even if it wasn't COVID there.
Well said, Sweta. This is really cool. I would like to ask one tricky question to, especially to Aarti. What comes first, mind or body?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question, really. Here I would like to say about Panchakoshas. As we all know, that human body is made up of Panchakoshas. The outer covering is the body, which we can see. But as you go layers by layers inside us, there is a Pranamay Kosha, Manomay Kosha, Vijnanamay Kosha, and the last one is the core one is the Anandamay Kosha. So when you cross all these 5 layers inside, the outer covering or the visible thing is the prana. But the most important thing which is inside, deep in us, is our mind. So according to me, prana and the mind is the most important element inside us, because anything first hits the mind, we call it as adhis, and then it percolates in bodies causing vyadhis. So if at all there is any distress, sufferings, or any pain, it first causes to your mind, and then slowly it goes on percolating inside, uh, creating diseases and disorders. So first, if you balance your mind, you can balance your body. So mind comes first, according to my version.
Cool. This is great. Thank you,
For
Aarti.
this, I
You
can
really
chant
addressed
one
the point very
just to,
nicely.
yeah. For this, I can give a
Yeah.
instance from
Go ahead.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Shri Krishna has narrated a beautiful shloka to Arjuna, stating, "Dhyayato vishayan pusah sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bhijayate krodhat bhavati sammohah sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati." So these 5 sensory organs that gives you information first hit your mind, and if your mind is hit at this time, it causes desires, wishes, feelings, thoughts, emotions. And the emotions, if they are strong and if they are not fulfilled timely, it keeps on piling up, and finally it percolates in the body. And this is what is said in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So first control the mind with meditation, with healing your sensory organs, and so that automatically your body will be cooled down, stable in your hands. So this is how mind come first, then body.
Oh, yes, that's right. Mind comes first. I'll remember that. Okay, Uma, can you just tell us more about what is the best resource for people who want to dive in deeper and practice holistic wellness? Uma, please.
Yeah. As Aarti has explained it well, the concept of Panchakosha. So, as far as Raja Yoga is concerned, so through the practice of Ashtanga Yoga, the asanas and following of yam, niyam, asanas, then we move on to pranayama. So, when we reach Manomaya Kosha, as she said it rightly, it is the Manomaya Kosh, which is very important because it controls the health of our body. So once we reach till that Manomaya Kosha, so actually pranayama is the key to take the inner control. So through pranayama, we take the control of mind. Manasya spandanam pranaha, pranasya spandanam manaha. So breath affects mind, mind affects breath. So once we take control of our breath, we control our, so pranayama is actually controlling pranayam, that is control of that life force. So pranayam, that is we do different type of breathing exercises and then we take control of our prana.
Oh, yeah.
So once we achieve that, after that, the next step is actually Pratyahara, and then our inner journey starts. So in Ashtanga Yoga, there are first 5 limbs which are actually called as Bahiranga Yoga. That is for our outer what to say, physical body or till mind. And the rest 3 steps are Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. They are meant for our inner journey. So pranayama is very crucial. So we should focus more on pranayama. And once we do a certain exercises of pranayama, even our dhyan or meditation will be very happily followed, or we are able to concentrate more for meditation. I mean, we actually prepare ourselves after doing pranayama. We prepare ourselves for the powerful meditations. So as far as Raja Yoga is concerned, as I said, we focus more on the Antaranga Yoga. And besides Raja Yoga, there are even other pathways like Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. But first we have to understand. And actually, we have to have a guru, because enlightenment, what we mean by deeper wellness, when we want to dive deeper inside it. So it is an unknown world. So we need to have a guide or a guru for this. And without guru, because we are really not knowing where to go, which path actually to follow. But actually it is a combination of all these, because they are so much interlinked with each other. Unless we have that knowledge, we will not come to practice or to for our wellness. We will not follow a particular path. One will not come to learn yoga or meditation unless he is aware of it, unless he has that jnana or knowledge of it. So actually they are interlinked. Karma yoga, we're actually practicing it. So from a different perspective, I'm speaking about it. So actually they are all interlinked. So if we can even follow those paths like mantra yoga, or we can read a lot, we can have contemplation, we have to contemplate on whatever we read. And so jnana yoga, karma yoga, every path leads to the same goal. So I think there are even other ways also, because spiritual journey is just endless.
Oh, yeah.
One life is just not sufficient to understand. And as she said it, the final goal is the Anandamaya Kosh. There is only Ananda. There is no opposite action or any opposite state of mind to this. So it is total bliss.
True. Very good. Okay. My next question is about, I would like specifically Aarti to answer this. How is technology complementing wellness journey?
Yeah, very good question, and really core to me, because in today's this pandemic time, basically I am from Sangli, so I run my studio in Sangli. After I completed my masters in yoga science, I started a studio, and with say nearly 108 students were attending my classes. But during this lockdown period, everybody was at home, but still they wanted to join me. So how it was possible? So as we all are today together because of Prana Mojo, so like these apps, so many apps are available in the market, and because of the technology, it joined the world together, not only in Maharashtra, in India, but now I am connected with Canada, USA, England, France, and many other countries according to the time zones. So the people who are really willing to do yoga and who want to practice yoga and get well soon, or to avoid this corona and all the pandemic situation, or those who are having some terrible mental stress, who want to meditate, they can connect me through this technology. And I am really blessed that I am helping people throughout the world. Overseas I can run these classes now on the platform of Prana Mojo and other apps. Thank you so much for Prana Mojo for making this platform available to me. Thank you. So this
Oh, yes.
technology is definitely working for me.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, there is always a positive side of everything. And
Correct.
this COVID-19 situation has forced everyone to go digital. And
Correct.
yes, I agree with you. Technology has really helped in this wellness journey. Oh, yeah, definitely. Uma, can you, tell us more about what spirituality has to do with wellness? People talk about wellness, people talk about spirituality. Yes, Uma, what do you say?
Well, I think spirituality is the only thing which will keep you well, because in our life journey, the circumstances keep changing at every stage. So at every stage we have problems, we solve it, we move further, then again we face new problems. So they never end. But spirituality is the only thing which will teach you how to be well, how to keep yourself well, how to keep yourself happy under any circumstances. So I think spirituality and wellness, they're very much linked together.
Indeed, they are. Oh, yes, absolutely. Uh, we have been discussing so much about holistic approach and wellness, meditation, but I would to ask this one to Sweta specifically. How can I find time? Well, this is the question many viewers have been talking about. The audience always wonder, how do I find time to meditate in this busy schedule? Everybody says we are busy, we are always having overlapping appointment. So this is a challenge. Yes, can you please tell us something?
Yeah, frankly speaking, this was one of the things that I used to ask people 10 years back. How do you find time to do other activities with such a busy schedule, being, managing household and SIP? But eventually, what I have realized is you can do meditation when you are seeing a mirror. Meditation becomes that simple when you really understand the meaning of meditation. You know how to meditate, you know why to meditate, and for whom you are meditating, what is the end goal or target that you want. When you are clear with these things, and then you can meditate anywhere, anytime. Breathing is meditation. Being aware surrounding is meditation. So it's like you can meditate anytime, anywhere. But yes, it is very important, as Uma has highlighted. We need a direction. Direction is always something which is must, because that is when you know you are really going in the right direction. Because knowing after few years, or after a lot of time, you feel like you're not in the right direction, that's where you basically are shattered. So being doing practices under trained and certified people helps a lot. So
Oh, yeah,
now
yeah, that's
Pranamudra
right.
is giving us a platform, to know and understand different trainers, their different approaches, and how they have helped themselves. Because I think the first person I helped by doing what I am doing is me. So the thing is that that's one thing that we all can learn from each other, from platform, and we can accordingly just have those practices in our daily life, which can really help us in the longer term.
Thank you. That's very precise. Okay, moving on further, I would like to ask Aarti. You are the expert in this subject of yoga. how is yoga different from stretching, or other, for fitness? People just talk about so many things. So, is there any special difference or what, Aarti?
Yes, yes. There are so many fitness events available nowadays, Zumba or aerobics, gym, or many go for running, walking, whatever. Whatever is convenient for them, whatever is available, they choose the path and they start doing exercises. But when I go to all this content, one thing is very common in this is every activity requires yoga. So if a player is a badminton player, if at all he plays badminton, then also he needs to be agile, and agility comes from yogic postures, because the stretchings, elasticity, endurance, stamina is increased with yogic postures. If he is an athlete, if he's a runner or a sprinter, he requires deep focus, he requires the stamina, and the stamina comes with pranayam, meditation, focusing area. So every action or every event of fitness requires yogic activities. So yoga is not different from them, but it is the base of everything. I will say that anything will come with yoga. So if there is a dancer, many students of mine are Kathak or Bharatnatyam dancers. Many of them are badminton players. Many of them are swimmers. So all they require some or the other techniques in yoga, which will help them to give a good performance. So any activity you are into, the yoga is the base of everything. So without yoga, you cannot go ahead. So yoga is everything for me and for them also. So it is different, and it is the key factor of any fitness mantra.
This is important. It is different. We need to understand this, and you explained it so nicely, Aarti. Thank you very much. My next question is the yoga expert here. What is the different types of pranayam, Uma? About the pranayam, if you can tell us.
Yeah. So pranayama is actually control of our life force or prana, which comes through breath. So actually pran energy enters our body through breath. So if we can control it, we actually, a lot of things happen inside us. Now regarding the different steps of pranayama, first initial step would be on the physical level, like purification. That means more incoming, more flow of oxygen, and expelling carbon dioxide more. So it would be sort of purification of lungs and your breathing passage or respiratory passage. So that would be a first stage. So for that, kriyas like Kapalbhati are good. So first, initially, it's better to do those kriyas, purification kriyas. Then we move on to different nadis. Actually, we have two nostrils. This is right one is Surya Nadi. This is left one is Chandra Nadi. Now these names have been given. Nobody even knows how many thousand years ago. Our Rishi Munis must have found out some connections with our inner physiology, and that's why the names. And actually by controlling these two nadis, we actually enter into the real pranayama. So initially we have to first strengthen our each nadis. So for that matter, certain pranayama like Chandrabhyas, Suryabhyas, such type of pranayams can be practiced. After that, it comes to the balancing of these two nadis, because actually these two nadis are balancing the metabolism of the body. So actually they are remote controls sort of to our autonomic nervous system, which actually is sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So as the name suggests, this Surya Nadi is which will make our body hot, and this Chandra Nadi will cool down our body. So this process actually automatically it goes on 24/7, but we don't even realize. But when we intentionally practice balancing these two nadis, most of the metabolic activities and endocrine glands which secrete different hormones, they get perfectly balanced. And this actually I was the first person to cure myself. I totally got over my thyroid problem. So only through these through yoga, through a medium of yoga. So I can very confidently say that our endocrine system or even our metabolic system, because they are interrelated, our hormone secretions, they actually balance our metabolic activities. So through pranayam, if we can control these physiological activities, we automatically uh, go towards healing of the body or mind, both ways. So after that balancing, we actually now we can target our pranayama techniques or particular types of pranayam. We can focus on whatever problems we have. If not, if we are doing it for spiritual purpose, then also we can. So we have actually to choose any one of the path. We can either go very deep into meditation, or we can go towards healing process, if at all, according to the need. So and there are so many pranayams which may not be even mentioned in the text, but they're available with our ancient yoga gurus who are really into this. So in Himalayan case, there are so many yogis who might not even have read about the different texts, but they know quite a lot, and they know so many rare techniques of pranayama, and which are really helpful for curing, I'm saying curing, any kind of problem. Specific, but it has to be very individualized. That practice has to be very individualized. But this knowledge is still alive with us, even though it is not mentioned anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Uma. I really appreciate your point about curing. That means we are not suppressing, we are actually removing the problems from the root.
Yeah, we are
Okay.
not controlling, we can cure, because I have cured myself.
Oh, yeah.
So, so I can say.
Right. Very
But
nice.
one has to be very focused on what you really want.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and one more thing, Yogendra, I was just wondering that, I read that you conduct scientific meditation. So, I basically think this, how is it different from the traditional meditation? So, because meditation, what we know is meditation. So there's nothing like that. But since being into this field, there is a lot of things people say, this meditation, that meditation. So how will you differentiate scientific meditation with the normal traditional approach for meditation?
I'm glad you asked this question, Sweta. Let me introduce myself first before I answer this question about scientific meditation. I'm basically IT professional for last 45 years. I started my career in IBM in 1975. So I have seen the generation changes in the information technology. Last 15 years, I have been practicing and teaching meditation. Now, coming back to your question, why scientific meditation? Well, friends, my approach to meditation is to explain using medical terms, scientific terms. I am not referring to any religious books. Without any religious bias, we have to understand meditation. You know what is happening today? everyone is talking about meditation. Meditation is not new, but normally we find the discussion goes towards religion. My religion is better than yours kind of discussion. And the main thing about meditation is left aside. Today's generation is not going to take everything on the face value. They will Google search.
True.
So we need to talk, use the terms which is proven in the laboratory. Just few minutes back, Uma mentioned about endocrine system. Meditation, if it can be explained using the endocrine system, the ductless glands, what are the different hormones and where the of this emotion. If we understand the limbic region, if we understand how we can control, and above all, the scientific meditation system, a very comprehensive system which includes color meditation. So I call it scientific because without taking any religious bias, I try to explain the entire process. What do we do when you close your eyes and why and how? So step by step method is actually discussed in my session. Yeah, Shweta, thank you for asking this
Yeah, thank you,
question.
Jyotirmaya.
I thought otherwise I will not be able to speak with all these experts around. But let's continue our discussion. I would like Aarti to please tell me, can I do yoga? I am not flexible. Is the question frequently asked question? If you can just tell us something, please.
Aarti, you're on mute.
Aarti, mute on mute, please. Thank you.
Okay, yes, we all can do yoga perfectly, right from the baby, that is a child, till the age old people. Anybody can perform yoga. Flexibility doesn't matters in the beginning, in the initial stage. Slowly and gradually, according to your age, according to your lifestyle, dire dire you can come into the postures, you can adapt the postures. If the time zone is little bit, that also doesn't mind. Slowly you can start doing the exercises. You can increase the agility, you can increase the flexibility, and then you can, though you are not flexible, that doesn't matter anything about yoga. Slowly you can adapt the postures and go, and you can become flexible, say within a month or 2 months, and you can do the perfect posture at after well practicing. So flexibility,
Perfect. But
yeah.
in that same connection, I would like to ask: do I need to lose weight before I can start practicing yoga, Aarti?
No necessary, no need, because as it is, after doing postures and after doing yoga, you are going to lose your weight, because thiram sukham asanam, when you are in a position of stability, is a perfect posture, it is bound to lose your weight. So the weight is automatically going to be shed within few months, few days, and you will be back in shape. So you will get that yoga figure within few days. So no need initially to wait, losing of your weight and then coming to yoga. It is fine. With yoga, you can lose the weight.
Okay, that's very clear now. Thank you, Aarti, for the clarification. I would like to ask all these experts about the meditation. You see, is it necessary that the meditation will make the person too relaxed at school or work? And people are always worried. Will meditation make me too relaxed, spaced out? Who would like to answer? Is for anybody to take up this.
I've actually conducted sessions
Yes, Shweta.
for corporates, school teachers, society members. So the thing is, like, meditation is for everyone. It is not that it is to help you out with whatever you are doing, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a sports person, whether you are in any field. Meditation will relax you, plus increase your efficiency. So it is not that it will deviate you from your goals and targets, but it will focus you to achieve the targets that you have set. And being a Yog Pranvidya trainer and energy healer, the approach that we follow is an integrated approach towards health. Physical body is important, emotional, mental, and even the spiritual progress is important. So everything is required to basically lead a proper lifestyle.
Agreed. That leads to another question. Is it necessary to sit on the floor? People always ask this question. It's again a frequently asked question. It is not, we have lost practice of sitting cross-leg on the floor. Is it possible to do it on chair? If anyone can answer this.
Yeah, actually, there are many modules nowadays we have made for chair as well as for sleeping. So those who are not able to do Surya Namaskar in a standing position, we have made certain chair Surya Namaskar or sleeping Surya Namaskar or wall Surya Namaskar techniques. So nobody will lag behind. Everybody will be able to perform the yogic postures or Surya Namaskar and lose the weight, get that figure, to be agile, to be flexible. So there are different modules and some techniques like those who are having knee problem or those who cannot stand properly on their feet, those who are having some disability, they can also perform yoga. Just like sitting on a chair, they can do pranayam techniques or they can meditate or they can go for cyclic meditation. There are so many techniques which they can do with while sitting on chair or while sitting or sleeping on the mat also. So there are some techniques they can follow.
Yogendra, you are
Thank
on.
you. That's right. I appreciate this point that even if the person is not able to sit on the floor, should not, feel shy of doing yoga or meditation. Aarti, I want to ask you one question. Are these specific yoga and mindfulness practice for individual, what do you say? Like, for example, for sports, say running versus chess. Can you give a little more idea on this, Aarti?
Yes, definitely, Jyotindraji. This is a wonderful question because every sport requires some or the other different yogic techniques for their endurance, for their stamina. So just you can have a look at some of the videos and the postures which will be depicted on the screen right now, and you will come to know about the specific asanas or the specific postures which will help a certain athlete or a chess player or a badminton player or a swimmer to increase the stamina, the endurance, the agility, the technique in his performance. So please have a look so that I can explain the postures. Yeah, some of these postures are mentioned for focus. So if a person is a athlete and he wants a focus, so he can do Tadasan or Vrikshasan. So get a perfect focus on his target area. If a person is doing archery or a rifle shooter, so he has to perform or he has to do Tratak, which will improve his eyesight. So there are certain specific areas which has to be focused with the yogic techniques. Or if a person is a swimmer, he requires stamina. So with Bahya Kumbhak Pranayam or Antar Kumbhak Pranayam, he can increase his prana technique or he can increase the lungs capacity and hold on oxygen level inside. So it will create a wonderful stamina for him. So these are some techniques which will help the athlete in different sport person to increase the stamina and give good performance in their career. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Correct.
Shweta, I want you to tell me what is the one piece of practical advice you would like to give someone starting out their well-being journey? And this question I'm going to ask each one of you. Shweta, first you can please answer.
Yeah, the first thing is smile. When you look at yourself, smile. When you look at any,
Unmute. Yeah, unmute, please. Shweta, unmute.
yeah, sorry. So
Yeah, it's okay.
the first thing that I'll tell everyone is smile. When you get it, you smile because you are alive. You look at yourself and smile because when you smile, the entire, as you said, the hormonal internal balance is regained. And if we see, maximum facial muscles also get exercise. So to be looking young, happy, and for your entire wellness, the first thing is to smile. Thank you.
Great. I will remember that. Yeah. Uh, uh, the same question I would like to ask Uma.
Yeah,
What is
can you
one piece
please-
of practical advice, Uma, you would like to give?
I did not get your question. I couldn't hear it. What
I
is-
will repeat. What is one piece of practical advice you would like to give someone who is starting their well-being journey? Uma.
I would rather say that this yoga, learning of yoga, does
Your mic has become unmute. Mic.
goes
Shweta,
on
mic.
24/7.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to call
Yeah,
someone.
yeah. Oma, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it should go on 24/7 inside your mind. You should keep on thinking, rethinking, should keep on contemplating whatever we have learned and how my life is going to be easy or happy with whatever I have learned in my yoga sessions or whatever we are reading, whatever it could be. But that is not confined only to a classroom of yoga or one particular session. It is a lifetime journey. So it will never end and it should not also end.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it should go on.
Absolutely. It's never ending. Absolutely. Aarti, how about you? What is the advice you would like to give to our viewers? Aarti?
I would say first love yourself. And when you love yourself, you will love others. So the
Perfect.
first thing is love yourself, however, whatever you are, be contented, be happy. And then you will realize that you have started detaching from the external world and you are attaching to your own soul, own self, which is innocent inside. And that innocence, that affection, that love, you will keep on showering on others, whoever you meet on the way. So that kindness, that simplicity, that sattva gunas are to be percolated, surfaced all the time. And this is how you can start your journey and see where it takes you to the highest level in the.
Perfect. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
I would like to add one more point here as far as the practical advice is concerned. You see, everyone is expert in some skill. The person has a lot of experience. My practical advice is why not combine your inner energy? In addition to the technology, the skill, the experience, the smart working,
Very true.
add the inner power and it will take you miles ahead. Thank you very much, beautiful ladies. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
this
so
has
much.
been
Thank
wonderful
you.
discussion today. I am sure viewers would like to share this video and give your feedback. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you, Indraji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Nice
Dhanyawad.
talking with all of you. Thank you.
Take care.